I first want to show you how to properly set up the pediatric radiography mannequin so that all the controls will function properly while you're using it. First of all, open the suitcase. You'll notice that there are two adjustment levers that allow you to articulate the head into an appropriate position. First, loosen off the main adjustment lever. That will allow you to swing the head outside the case, making sure that the shaft fits into the groove. Now, when you tighten it up, probably better to make sure the shaft is closer to the top of that groove than the bottom of that groove. So set it about there, tighten it up, make sure that's good and snug so it doesn't move around during the session. Then you can loosen off the neck adjustment screw. That will allow you to position the head accordingly. Put it into approximately this position and lock it down. You'll be able to adjust this more accurately once it's in the chair. Now you'll notice this particular mannequin is the one with the spring-loaded mandible lock mechanism, where you can pull down and allowing the mandible to open and close or lock it into place. If when you open up the suitcase you find that that locking mechanism is not in its proper position, the way you adjust it is as follows. Close the mandible, slide it up until this pin just contacts the bottom of the mandible, and then slide it up about another 1/4 of an inch or so. Then you can lock it into place. Now take note that on this particular shaft there is a flat spot on the back. Make sure that this tightening and screw engages that flat spot and is not sitting on one of the rounded areas of the shaft, otherwise you're not going to be able to tighten it appropriately. So make sure that's tightened down. It will still allow some play in the mandible, allow you to open and close while placing films, but still allow for things to sit in very snugly while actually taking the film. Once you have things in a basic position, make sure you remove the retention strap. This will be very useful to help secure the case to the radiography chair. Close the lid on the suitcase and take the unit to the appropriate chair you're going to be using so that you can complete the setup there. When positioning the mannequin in the chair, it's important to help secure it with the safety strap so the whole unit will not slide down the chair and possibly fall out. Now each of the straps is adjusted for that specific mannequin because the suitcases on each is a slightly different size. Easiest way to apply it is to loop it around the back, around the headrest first, because that will give you enough slack that you can attach the connectors. Once that is done, then pull the strap down so it is over the back of the chair. And that will make sure that the suitcase is now good and snug and will not slide out of the chair. Again, when closing up at the end of the session, just reverse the procedure, slide the strap up to give you the slack you need, unconnect the connectors, take the mannequin out, and place it back appropriately in the case. When preparing to take a radiograph, hold the mandible closed, grab the release pin, pull it down and rotate it to the side to hold it open. So you can see the release pin now is away from the bottom of the mandible, which allows the mandible to drop open. Take the appropriate radiograph equipment that they're using, position the film, manually close it, hold it in place. Again, with the release pin, pull down slightly, rotate it back to neutral position, and release it so the film will stay firmly in place while you're taking the radiograph. After the radiograph has been taken, to remove whatever apparatus you're using, just reverse the procedure. Hold the mandible closed, pull down on the pin, rotate to the side, allow the mandible to open so that you can remove the radiographic apparatus and carry on with the rest of your film series. Our other radiographic mannequin has a slightly different holding device to keep the mandible closed. Basically, it just has a stopper that slides up and down and has a wing nut on it that allows you to tighten or loosen it. So in order to take a radiograph, slide the stopper down, allowing the mandible to open. Take the appropriate radiographic apparatus. Position the film. Close the mandible manually and hold it closed. Elevate the stopper up. While holding it there, you can now release the mandible hand and tighten the wing nut. Once it is firmly in place, you can go ahead and expose the image. Following taking of the radiograph, simply reverse the procedure to carry on. So hold the stopper closed while loosening the wing nut. Hold the mandible closed while dropping the stopper. Open the mandible and remove the radiographic apparatus. And then carry on with the rest of your series. At the end of the radiography session, you want to make sure to put the mannequin away properly so it is stored safely and will not be susceptible to any damage in between clinic sessions at all. So first of all, open the case. Make sure that the appropriate retention strap goes back with the appropriate case. Again, both of our mannequins, the suitcases, are slightly different sizes. The straps have been adjusted to fit the individual suitcase as well. So make sure the appropriate strap goes with the appropriate case. Firstly, make sure that the mandible is locked in its closed position. We don't want the mandible open so it's flopping around during sessions and while the case is being moved. So make sure that it is locked in place with the appropriate mechanism. Firstly, loosen off the main articulated member. That will allow you to swing the head back up towards the closed position. Then unlock the neck adjusting mechanism. That will allow you to fold the head back into the case. Once you have it fitting nicely in there, please make sure to lock the mechanisms down so that everything is secure, so the head can't rattle around when the case is moved. That will again just help prevent any damage in the future. Close the case, lock it, and store the case in the appropriate location.